today we are going to be talking to a haunt extraordinaire from Hawaii. But not just anybody, Leroy.
Huh?
Today we're talking to the man who created the Haunted Plantation and helped spark the haunt scene in Hawaii. Today on Haunt Culture.
Episode of Haunt Culture.
Haunt Culture in Hawaii.
Woo!
If only we were sitting on a beach with a pina colada in our hands right now, Leroy.
Experiencing a haunt.
Experiencing a haunt. The Haunted Plantation.
Bum, bum, bum.
To be specific.
Yes. One day. So, we're really excited as we are continuing our journey in talking to haunt actors from around the world and country. We have this incredible an honorable opportunity to talk to the owner of Haunted Plantation. It's the biggest and most popular haunt in all of Hawaii. Shout out to Raven, who hooked us up. I came across her video on TikTok, which I'll show you real quick.
Yes, I haven't seen this.
Okay, so I work at a haunted attraction, right? Why you motherfuckers keep calling me Annabelle? I look like if Ronald McDonald and Wendy's had a child and loved the fuck out of Kiss.
Yes.
That is Raven Sky.
Shout out to Ray. She's cool.
Yes, and hopefully we will have her on the show eventually.
The goal was to talk to Raven.
It was.
And she said, here's my boss.
She sent me Noah's profile, reached out to him, incredibly nice gentleman, and he was willing to sit down with us and have a chat, so we want to hear all about Haunted Plantation. So without further ado, let's go to Haunted Plantation. Hey!
Hi!
Hey! How you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Good.
How are you?
Doing awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here with us.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what and how you got your start in the haunt industry.
My name's Noah. I'm one of the partners for Haunted Plantation here in Hawaii. It's in a city called Waipahu. And I've been doing it for a long time, since 2006. That was our first one. Well, I guess that's kind of long. But here in Hawaii, it's kind of different. Not much exciting things other than, if you like to go to the beach, or if you like to go hiking and all that stuff. That's what we're known for. It's the beauty of Hawaii. Hawaii is pretty much it's a very superstitious state, It all stems from, the plantation. It was mainly for sugar and pineapples, And in late 1800s, early 1900s, we have all these different cultures coming down to work at the plantation. They were pretty much tricked, They were promised, a different life, So we had people from Japan, the Philippines, Okinawa, Puerto Rico, Korea, all coming down to Hawaii to work on the plantation. And so everyone lived on one area, and they all brought their superstitions and what became Oahu became like the melting pot, right? So bringing all these different things, food, and also the superstitions. So a lot of the ghost stories and things like that. So being raised in Hawaii, in Waipahu, in that area, growing up as a kid, always hearing stories of ghosts. We didn't have haunted houses like of that scale, professional scale, up on the here in Hawaii as compared to the mainland. So even in 2006, prior before that, we would always go to the smaller scale haunts, more nonprofits. Families would take us to like the JCs and all those little community haunts, and it was really fun. But once we start traveling and being brought up to like Not Scary Farm back in the days and all those haunts, it was pretty much game changers, for us. And I decided I wanted to do like a haunted house, and try to bring something different to Hawaii other than the nonprofits, the smaller scale haunts. I lived near the Hawaii's Plantation Village, which is right in Waipahu. And what it is, it's a museum with replicas of plantation homes right near the sugar mill. So there's like huge sugar mill right next to the village, right where we used to live as kids, and it was a functioning, cane stack. So people would burn the sugar cane fields or chop them down, set it ablaze. And I remember as kids, just seeing all the ash from all the burning sugar cane just falling all over the city. Kind of felt like Silent Hill, and it was like all that ash stuff. But it was interesting. And then they stopped that. Then they built like this museum. I remember walking past the village, would always just be terrified just to look in the windows, because we know that street was haunted. And it's just like people say they would see things in those houses when they drove by. A lot of accidents, people would just swerve off to the road because they didn't want to run over this lady that was like blocking the street, or this ghost lady. And a lot of things, they would see children running across and they try to swerve. And there was a lot of accidents there on right on that street, which is Waipahu Street. It's called the S turn, which is where it kind of lies on. And so I always told myself, if I was to do a haunt, this would be the place to try and do it. Because it was kind of scary already, and would try to market it by saying, "Oh, it's here at the village," and people already knew the history of that area. Going there and asking them to give me a chance, they finally let me do it after like 3 or 4 years afterwards, because it was like. But that's how it kind of just started, and it just started really small, just super unorganized. Like, this is like 2006. Just had my family members like, "Oh, you go over there." We went to like Price Busters and got all like the corniest and cheesiest masks. We was like tossing things while people were walking through, and it wasn't an indoor outdoor haunt like how we do it now. Now we go into most of the houses, then we decorate the outsides, insides, the pathways. But before it was just outdoors, walk through, and that's it. Like, it was bad, but we did it. It was just a one night thing, and it was like a super long line. We don't know how people knew about it. We just kind of printed flyers, and the line went all the way up and wrapped around the place, and it was super unorganized. We had a pop up tent out front, and like no security guards, or family and people were getting hit and punched and whatever. It was like, "Oh, we're never gonna do this again," But it was a success as far as it being a huge turnout.
That's interesting to hear how it all just started simply with an idea and your family.
Yeah.
And it just grew into this big event. And I actually was watching some TikToks of people that went to Haunted Plantation. A lot of them have been saying, like, this is tradition. They've been going since they were in high school. It's become such a big thing in the community.
Yeah. I think that's what Hawaii is. Yeah, that's another thing that I feel like why we're blessed to have the following we do, because Hawaii, we do a lot of stuff that tradition. If we started it at the right time, and people started growing to come and built our own community following. I mean, throughout the years, we have like a lot of I wouldn't say competition, but just different promoters or haunt organizers that tried to come down and spend a lot of money on trying to build these haunts like as they do, on the mainland, but it just doesn't work only because of the timing of everything. We started it at a perfect time, and so there was one year where there was a huge haunted house that opened up right across the street, and we're like, oh shoot, what's going up with that? We have the whole island, and they wanted to open up right across the street. They spent a lot of money on marketing, everything, but no one went there. It was just so strange that we had like hordes of people just coming up and just taking that left to where we're at. And after a while, they were trying to get people to come for free to their stuff. Like the rest, because nobody was going. And I think that's one thing about the Hawaii community is that they do support local promoters or anything that's local. And if because we started it a while ago, it's as you mentioned, it's turned into a tradition where people come, and it's like people come and wait it early in the morning just to go online. But we do time ticketing now, so not as much as before, so it's a lot better.
Yeah. So you sort of touched base on this, but what is the haunt scene like in Hawaii?
There's not much of a haunt scene. I mean, there's not that much people here on this island, but that are. I mean, me and my partner Angelina, she's not here. She's working on some stuff, but yeah, we pretty much built the haunt scene here in Hawaii. There's people that come up. There's another haunt here on the island. We're friends with them too. They do a good job, but people seem to think it's easy to do, and they try to start something here on this island. I mean, everything here on the island is expensive, the materials to build things, and it's just expensive. So they usually tend to fizzle out, unfortunately. They try it, doesn't work. And we talk about people who bring in big money and just try to, do something, but it's just the scene for just horror in general, it's not that huge here in Hawaii. But people do love to get scared. People like, ghost stuff and superstitious stuff. It's not much. It's pretty much just us and whoever usually comes to pop up something or try it out and take a crack at it, and that's it.
Can you go a little bit more into depth on what is the Haunted Plantation and kind of the story of it and like the story that the guests are walking into?
We always kept the Haunted Plantation as a themed haunt where everything we kind of just the Haunted Plantation and all of its icon characters or characters are mainly all our own creative IP, I guess. It would just be all either really Asian influence or based off of Hawaii superstitions or like the Filipino ghosts or Japanese ghosts, which is really influenced Hawaii because, during the plantation, it was like a really big influx of Japanese or people from Japan. So like a lot of similar stories that they have up there was brought down to Hawaii, like the Faceless Lady, like and then of course the Filipinos have the Aswang, which is like a Filipino vampire. We never did want to bring anything that was already, like the famous copyrighted kind of monsters or IP. It was always just based off of Hawaii superstition and ghosts and creatures and whatever. So from beginning to end, it would just be just our own creations and characters.
Yeah, I think that's really cool because personally for me, like the urban legends, like all of those myths and those legends from the cultures, like that stuff's scarier than some like Michael Myers and Jason and like somebody in your dreams. Like I'm a sucker for a good ghost story, so like this is very exciting to me.
Yeah, I love that's so unique. Those
Yeah.
those characters, those stories you can use.
You don't see a lot of that.
No.
You touched a little bit on how it got started. Haunted Plantation got started with your family. How did it kind of evolve after those first couple of years? What was the evolution of Haunted Plantation like?
You know, it grew every year. Then we started adding more nights. Then to us, we wanted to stick to the storyline and just never change it. But there's so many stories. And so every year we would, just think of one story from the neighborhood or, in the area of Hawaii and just kind of recreate that and make that the theme for the year. And like 2010, maybe that's when we started doing like really heavy on focus on the makeup and our actors and everything, the costume design, and started creating our own prosthetics and masks. We started to kind of reverse engineer things and figured out how to make it on our side, early on in the years. And we started making silicone masks just for Plantation and our own prosthetics. And then that's around the time when we started really creating our own company as far as creating special effects, makeup, and masks and prosthetics just for our own. And sometimes we would just make some masks and go out into the streets and kind of hyper-realistic old man and old lady masks, like how they used to do when they used to, get really viral at the time. And we did stuff when we would go out into Waikiki, tourist town, and we wear old man masks, old lady masks, and just posted it on YouTube. And we had thousands and thousands of hits just from that. And we're like, oh wow, it's not the best yet. I know we can hone it, and people was asking us to do stuff for them, all these commercial haunts on the mainland. But I was like, oh no, we'll just keep it to ourselves. But I really feel that, and that's what we're really proud of for Haunted Plantation. It's really actor-driven. All the masks that we use, all the silicone masks, all the effects, and all the icon characters are all done in-house by our own studio.
That's amazing.
That is.
You don't see a lot of haunts that do a lot of makeup in-house anymore.
I think one thing that we realized too is that, like in 2012, me and my partner, we started something called Top Haunts magazine, which is like, we did a couple issues. It was like a yearly thing, but we travel and visit all these haunts, all of these amazing haunts. They had beautiful sets, but one thing that we noticed that was kind of lacking a lot was like a lot of the makeup stuff. I know haunt makeup isn't supposed to be like, really sophisticated, because you're sweated off, or, you got to think about the actors and stuff. You have a beautiful set, and then the actors come out with just white faces and, things like that. We noticed these things, and it's like, have an amazing story and also have amazing costumes and makeup and movie quality stuff, then that would be a hit. So we kind of brought that idea back and said, let's just focus on like our actors. We're the driving force, as you guys know, it's like the actors, that, and kind of veer away from animatronics and just focus on just the actors.
Yeah, absolutely. A haunt is nothing without its haunt actors.
Yeah, of course. So we got to take care of them.
Haunted Plantation, it takes place at a real village, and there's a lot of ghost stories there. What are some of those ghost stories?
Oh man, there's a lot of stories that happen to us, our staff. Like really, they're not dangerous spirits. There's a bunch. There's like a little girl who's more playful that, is in the Portuguese house. People say that she lives in that outhouse oven. And sometimes the people, see photos of a girl inside that oven. Yeah, and a man in there. Like a lot of my actors would see stuff. So when we usually have our usual meeting, our safety meeting with all of our actors, everyone does. We have had a lot of actors that quit to do supernatural or paranormal things. So we try not to say what houses, are haunted, or just to, we don't want people to get scared, and who knows. So we usually tend to not share information on, what houses are haunted. We have 2 to 3 actors in the area, so it's usually fine now. But there's this house, which is the Okinawan house, which is in the middle And that place is kind of, we had to shut that area down some nights and just kind of divert people on a different pathway. People just start running, like my actors just start like running and booking it outside of the plantation, and have to radio people, like, what's going on, how come that no one's there, and why are they running over there, can you? And then same experiences is usually there's a choking spirit in that house. Maybe 5 different actresses just throughout the years just up and left and said, and come to find out it's all the same reasons. They got choked and they couldn't breathe, and like they felt like a hand around their neck, and then I seen that a couple times, not a couple times, maybe like once or twice, and then that's when I was like, let's maybe get this house blessed or see what happens. The one story I saw was of, I do a walkthrough, kind of check out. We don't have cameras there, that's why, because it's like no Wi-Fi in that whole place. So we usually have to go back and forth, like, lose a lot of weight, it's just going around.
All right, so this is post-interview. I'm in the middle of editing this episode, and we caught something really strange in this next part here. I'll let you go ahead and take a listen. I'm going to repeat this about 5 times. And you're going to hear Noah at first, but then you're going to hear something else right after.
I'm just kind of looking through. 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 I'm just kind of looking through.
I was really confused at first when I was editing, because I'm like, what is that sound? What is that? And then I kept listening to it, and I'm like, holy crap, that's a voice. This was only the microphone I had recording Noah's voice. Like, if you hear me and Brittany, it's very faint. This voice sounded like it was right on top of the microphone. I did send this to Noah. He wasn't sure what it was either, but he agreed it was creepy. Do you know what it's saying? Let us know down in the comments below what you think.
There was that one of our actresses was like pinned up against the wall, and she was like holding on to her neck. But I saw her face is getting like really red and eyes getting really watery. And then I run in, and then everyone was like, all the 2 other actors in that house came up, and then like they were like, what's going on, and she was just like holding on to her face, her eyes getting really watery, and she's like, I can't breathe, and then I yelled out to one of the security out front, like, divert everyone, go somewhere else, and then we tried to figure out what to do, because she was like against the wall, and then she just dropped from there, just dropped to the ground, and then she just darted out, and she was like, I'm out of here. Most of the other spirits there that do reside there are usually friendly or playful, like in a weird way.
That I can't imagine doing that. With scare ones, we definitely don't have anything too crazy, but a lot of the props they would get were from auctions, from mortuaries and hospitals, so that came with a lot of energy. So there's
I think that's the reason why the plantation is really haunted, because family members donate a lot of stuff to the village that have passed away, and everything inside the homes were all gifted and donated from past loved ones, from our different communities and societies, the Chinese society, all that stuff. So it's everything is laced with, things like what you mentioned. I feel that is the reason why it's extremely haunted.
Speaking of actors and the wonderful people that help run our attractions and stuff, for the Haunted Plantation, what is your hiring and audition process like?
We usually start hiring in end of July. Usually, we just hold a couple castings until we fill up our positions. A lot of our actors are all repeat. They usually like coming back. We have like 70 actors, 80 actors. We have castings every year. Always like to bring in fresh blood too. We usually have it on our Sundays, and we usually ask them to do certain things and see if they involved with sports or all that kind of questions. Usually similar to stuff, because we usually say, it's like really physically demanding for what we do in our stuff, like especially we make them wear these heavy outfits and costumes in these tiny homes, and it's super muggy here in Hawaii, and like they're just sweating, and these homes are really small, like they're sizes of like people's living rooms or like double or triple that, and a lot of the windows are closed too and shut, so it's like we can't really do much for them, but making sure that they're always staying in character is super important to us. If you see people and always being able to reset and keep on doing that for 5 to 6 hours is crazy. So we really let them know how physically demanding the thing is, and we do have one break, 1 15-20 minute break in between, which is pretty much nothing. So they're pretty much dead at the end of the night. And we only do 10 nights, throughout, for our season. That's why everything's kind of compressed and everyone comes all at once. Contact lenses, you guys can, we try to make sure most of our actors have contacts or are able to wear masks or silicone, or if they're allergic to prosthetics or foam or latex, just everything like that. We kind of jot everything down, take pictures of them, and then me and Angelina can kind of see like where they would fit, what areas missing. I think this year we're gonna have to hire a lot more because a lot of our actors moved, so. But it's always, as I said, exciting to get, new people and train them, and they're always so excited and ecstatic.
Yeah. Hunting really is contagious.
It is.
It is. And that's why we kind of like posting scare reels sometimes, it's just like, everyone's always asking, I want to do that. I want to, join the team. How do I become a scare actor at the plantation? Like, it's, when you start posting those scare reels, it's, for us, usually it's like, that's our way of getting people to come out. It's like, oh wow, looks really fun.
So, who are some of the characters at Haunted Plantation?
A lot of our icon characters, yeah, they kind of change out, but we do have some that are repeats that we try to bring back. So in Hawaii, we have a faceless lady spirit that, usually roams around the area of Waipahu, or here in Kaimuki. It's pretty much the Mujina, which is a Japanese ghost. People usually see her around here, or used to see her in this area called Kaimuki. People first saw her at this theater in the restroom, just combing this, lady combing her hair, in the restroom from like in the 50s or 40s or something like that. Somebody went behind her. When she turned around, she didn't have a face, then she kind of just vanished. My mom too is a returning character. She was there. She's a scare actor too for us, and she's been there since day one, but now she still scares with us, and people usually recognize her. We do have a lot of clowns too, because they were around during the plantation time, and there's photos of creepy clowns actually, like in the early 1900s. I guess they were there to kind of raise spirits, for the plantation workers every so often. In the beginning we were like, oh, I don't know if that would work, at the plantation. Then I saw photos in the museum I was like, oh, that's dope. We did have clowns here, so I guess let's do our version of them. A lot of Japanese onis, Japanese ghosts, all just different, local folklore spirits, like over there, and yeah.
What are some of your favorite scares that you have witnessed your performers execute? What are some of your favorite scares that you've seen?
Oh man, yeah. Every year it's always, they always seem to top the years in the past. A lot of scares. I mean, of course, people poop themselves. You guys know that. People like I think it was a couple years ago, like at the second or third house, they're like this group of people, they're just so scared, and one of them was like, oh, I just crapped myself. And we hear that all the time, I think as a figure of speech, like, oh, then all the actors was like, what is that smell, and he just laid a whole track of just feces all over behind the Puerto Rican house that everyone was stepping on and just trailing on. and we had to close it, and we had to like, stop the tunnel, stop the, like where people enter. I got one of our fog technicians, this guy Darren. he had to clean the whole area up, and like our actors couldn't, like, they were getting dizzy, and they were like, it kind of screwed everything up because everyone felt like just barfing, and after a while people were trailing it and taking it into the houses, and it was just a big mess, and they were just like screaming, and they were continuing on because we didn't know which one was who. I think everything that came out of that guy was in just one area. So
Ugh. Believe it or not, we have had a poop incident at Scarowinds too. Urgent scare.
Yeah.
Yep. It's more common than you think, and it is not not fun.
I know you're saying you're planning to hire a lot of new people this year. What are some tips you'd give to people wanting to work at Haunted Plantation?
we always tell them just bring a lot of water, a couple bottles and gallons of water for sure, so you don't pass out. Do your research. A lot of these people that scare with us used to just attend before, and we kind of like to say, it's like, what scared you when you came before, and kind of just remember those techniques, and we kind of set them up with the workers that used to be in that area, and just everyone's different. All the ghosts, they act different, or the different houses, the way they scare and the techniques are all different, depending on the type of character that we have in there. We tell them you have to be kind of flexible. A lot of our actors, utilize the windows, the roof, the ceiling, and they become creative, and they start like climbing on the walls and, figuring out things. And it was crazy back then. And there's just, people used to like when they used to just drop from the ceilings and stuff, and we're like, oh, how are they holding on to these rafters? It's like nothing. Yeah, and then we do have like our scare awards, like a lot of people do. We feel like that's what really motivates them to throughout the season, just to be like, oh yeah, I got a top. We go by like, top scare, top house, most creative, and we go by based off of those awards. Best newcomer. For our haunt, there's like, we don't have them come in with their own costumes, or like do their own makeup. Everything has to be done by the book. We're really strict with that, and they don't have to come dressed up. To these castings, just come as you are, just right there.
And one final question: what is your favorite horror movie?
I still really like Halloween or Exorcist. I know it's really popular, but I've been a fan of Halloween for a long time. When it used to be on video rentals, we used to have a lot of VHS rental spots in our grocery stores. As kids, and I just always saw like the Michael Myers face on the cover of the VHS, and I was like, oh man, we're in a grocery store, and I always got scared just to kind of look. I was like, oh, it's just that face. I always love John Carpenter's stuff.
Well, thank you so much for making time to speak with us today.
Yes.
It was
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah.
incredible.
Hopefully you guys come out to Hawaii, and
Would love to.
Absolutely.
not during haunt season. Me and my partner, we have other stuff going on too, but we do a lot of Halloween things. So we do like Halloween pop-up bars here in Hawaii. Our effects studio is actually in Los Angeles, so that's where we go. We built it because of how expensive everything was, ship here. We decided to just open up our effects studio there. So that's where we go back and forth making masks that ship down for this. We also have a couple restaurants too. So, but everything, it kind of all stemmed because of the plantation, and so it's interesting to see how that works. That one haunt can help us create all these different things.
One haunt to change the world.
Awesome.
Again, thank you. Kit, thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. You guys have a good day, okay?
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much.
That was so interesting. Oh my God, Haunted Plantation.
Wow.
I honestly, I knew it was going to be interesting, but how much he went in depth of the history of where they did it, and then he really did start the haunt scene in Hawaii, like hardcore.
Yeah, that is phenomenal. Like, that's what we little haunt people dream of. We dream of starting the haunt scene, and we dream of creating this culture, and that is what Noah has done in Hawaii. And his mom... His mom is one of the haunt actors. She's been there since day one. Shout out to Noah's mom. That's going to be me one day.
Oh, it would be an interesting episode if we tried to haunt train our moms.
If you want to see Leroy and I's mom try to be a monster, let us know.
But I would definitely like to see her and all these other interesting characters.
Yes.
The no-face lady.
Yes. I'm such a nerd for like urban legends and like cultural like ghosts and things like that. Like he mentioned a couple Japanese urban legends and a couple ghosts and things from those cultures that I've personally heard about and read about and heard stories about before. And it's so cool. I'm a big nerd. Like when I go to Charleston, I'm always doing those ghost tours because I would... Literally, if there are any ghosts listening right now, I will give you my soul to have an experience with a ghost. Just putting that out there. Like, I love, like, real-life ghosty things. And his haunt, the Haunted Plantation, is literally a real-life spooky thing.
Man.
That was not worded very well, but you get what I'm saying.
Real-life spooky thing.
Real-life spooky thing. It's a real-life haunted location.
That might be our new, we get some t-shirts, haunt culture. It's a real spooky thing.
With my face right on the sleeve.
Yeah, no, I love hearing actual haunt.
Yes.
That's haunted.
Yes.
Oh man, that's cool. And Scarowinds does have a few ghost stories, not as compelling as Haunted Plantation. I will say one fun fact, it's kind of more Carowinds than Scarowinds, but the old carousel, I think it's the same one that's still there.
It is.
It's got a lot of spookiness to it.
Yeah.
It's been known to go off in the middle of the night by itself.
I have walked by it when it has. It's quite scary.
It is scary. And it's not even... The Carowinds didn't make it. They bought it from another park, so it's a very old ride.
Yep.
Asylum, which is now Tooth Fairy, that is probably the most well-known haunted building. Thank you. I can't talk.
Yeah, there's lots of stories. That was my first building that I haunted in at Scarowinds, and there's some creepy things that happen in there, but nothing touches. I couldn't even touch Haunted Plantation with a 10-foot pole.
You take the prize.
Yep.
You know what? If you're haunt actors who work at haunts that are haunted, let us know.
Please.
We should do an episode talking about haunted haunts.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that'd be really cool.
That was really cool. And again, if you are a haunt actor from a haunt anywhere in the country or international.
In the world.
Let us know. We want to talk to you here on Haunt Culture. Follow us on Instagram at Haunt Culture. And if you haven't subscribed already to our YouTube channel, please do so at Leroy Pro Studios, link down below. I will also be putting links to Haunted Plantation's Instagram and website if you want to check them out for yourself.
If you've taken a cruise down there in October, you should definitely check them out.
Yeah, and hopefully one day Haunt Culture goes to Hawaii.
If you're a travel agent, you want to sponsor us to go try some international haunts, let us know.
And that Halloween pop-up bar.
Oh, yes. I love a good pop-up bar. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for taking a trip to Hawaii with us today. And as always, we hope you keep it spooky.